press.
Look, it's
Yeah,
fine.
there's nothing to see here really. It's pretty standard, and a lot of these teams in the Southeast Asian qualifiers, they rate tanky heroes in general really high. Something that I talked to Luminous about. And Tree and Protector, Doombringer, these type of heroes are just being picked up so early in the draft. But actually, looking over to MVP Phoenix, they're going for Jakiro and Nature's Prophet now, opening up a little bit different.
Yeah, I think Jakiro definitely has potential. Whenever you're in a lane where you could just run up and hit a tower, for example, it's pretty good because Liquid Fire is just basically damage dealt, more or less. The one downside to it is that against a Treant Protector, unless you actually fully focus the tower and kill it just in one push, it's really hard to make that damage actually be worth it in a lot of stages of the game. Sure, levels like 1 through 7, the Treant's not going to be able to really heal the tower that effectively, but once he does get to 7, depending on how he skills it, it's going to be like, okay, well, you didn't see this tower for 2 minutes, now it's full HP.
I agree. You definitely want to take down the towers as a, go as a demolisher, take it down, and then back off. So you need to assert that you have the stronger team fight or have killed your enemies before you actually push through ganks or whatever. You can't just chip away at towers and hope that they will go down. So in this game, I mean, a lot of Nature's Prophets, they will buy Necrobook, but in this game I would actually like to see him go more DPS type items, so you can farm up fast, get stronger, and towers will die when you're strong enough. Another thing is that I think Naga Siren should be considered here by both teams, or not both teams, but Myth, they should consider banning it. They go actually for a ban on Lone Druid and Lycan, two heroes that do exactly what we talked about, just taking down towers fast. But you kind of have to respect the Naga Siren along with Jakiro as well, and Nature's Prophet. You just get so much team fight from Jakiro Naga, and you have the split push from Nature's Prophet and Naga.
And I think MVP also play this in a very similar style to what we saw maybe like 6 months to a year ago, when people were picking Nature's Prophet as a hero who solely was built to TP into a tri-lane and like be able to secure a kill that way, right? So they tried to do it the other day against Arrow. It didn't really work out for them because Arrow were able to apply pressure first, and you kind of have to be on the same page. It's like, we're going to go in now, you need to TP like now, we need to be the ones who jump in, not vice versa. Because sometimes your lane, you're going to lose a hero even if you end up trading, and then you're giving away farm to one hero because your Prophet TP'd and you already lost somebody. So
exactly, and that's the bigger part I feel as well. When you TP away with Furin, you kind of have to crush that fight convincingly. Even if you TP into a try versus try scenario and you get one kill out of it and then Furin has to TP back, it was not really worth it. Not every single time. Of course, if you kill the carry, it's a different story. But you preferably want to get like 1-2 kills, giving that space to the hero that you leave alone.
And MVP, they're going with some greedy picks, man. We saw this. Well, I think I was actually casting with Toby for that game, but they did this Nature's Prophet Rubik thing before, and I'll say the same thing that I said last time I saw it, is that these are very punishable heroes in the sense that there's already a Morphling on the other team. I'm not really sure how MVP Phoenix plans on applying pressure to that hero directly, unless they just plan on saying, we're going aggressive with Jakiro Rubik +1. Now, if they do, you have options like Gyrocopter, which I think is really solid when you already have a Rubik and you can just line up really nice damage and just isolate somebody and kill them. That would be pretty good. You can use Mirana as well, which is also very good because you can, unlike most stuns, you can actually lift the person and pull them away from the creep wave to land an arrow. So there's a lot of ways that you can actually go for it. But these heroes to me seem not the best laners on their own.
No, not really. And I'm not a big fan of picking up Rubik this early when there's nothing important to steal. You can say that Overgrowth is a pretty big spell. You can use that in teamfights, sure. But I wouldn't say that this warrants a Rubik pickup yet. So maybe they should just have went for something like Mirana first, and then there are options. There's Shadow Demon, there's Rubik, whatever they want to go for. It just opens up a little bit to the enemy team that, okay, there's a Rubik, we should maybe think about which type of heroes to go for.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you look at their team right now, maybe they're more... they're thinking about... Stealing Waveform is actually really nice for Rubik. Having Morph is good for the bonus HP. And if they do manage to get a decent level of living armor, they might be able to delay the game a little bit. I mean, when you have a Nature's Prophet, it's not necessarily a terrible idea to go for the late game, but you have to pick other heroes to supplement that, which MVP Phoenix are actually just going with a Warlock. Can synergize pretty nicely with some of their heroes, like Fade Bolt, Dual Breath, even Wrath of Nature.
They played this before, where they have a tri-lane farming Warlock.
Okay.
And they did this together with a Jakiro something that time as well, I believe. So this could be an aggressive tri-lane coming out from Warlock, Rubik, Jakiro. Sounds really weird to most people.
It is weird.
It is really weird. And he went last time we watched it, he went for Aghanims first and had it very early. and just pushed with it as a 5-man. I don't know. I prefer if you play Warlock to actually go for Hand of Midas and get levels up, because if you get levels early and then into Aghanims, you have so strong ulti. Like, it's just adding a lot. To have level 16 before other people is amazing on Warlock, or even level 11 before a big team fight erupts. And like when you buy your Aghanims, the golems get weaker in terms of HP. And sure, not a lot of things can kill them early on, but I just think that you're still pretty fine with just Midas in a higher level Infernal.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I'll ask this question to you. Maybe this is MVP's actual mentality on it. If you're just specifically going to delay the game, then slowing the Morphling's farm, even if it means aggressively tri-laning a hero that's considered unconventional, slowing his farm does delay the game. Like, the longer the game goes, the more opportunities there are for mistakes, the bigger opportunities there are to be able to split push and be able to get map control that way. So our MVP Phoenix just looking to avoid fights unless it's a full-on like confrontation, and then say, okay, we're either going to fight 5-man or we're going to split push. I mean, we haven't seen like their 1v1 or carry hero yet per se, but
I would say we should probably not expect a true carry hero at all. Maybe they will go for something like a Shadow Fiend on the mid lane to compensate for the fact that they have probably this Warlock on the tri-lane again. That said, they could of course go for a Warlock solo mid again. It's definitely doable. He's strong as a solo laner, and I kind of prefer it that way. But if they want to shut down the farm on Morphling, then tri-laning Warlock is really strong. But with the draft that they have, if Morphling gets any type of farm, you want to finish this game. Like, you don't want to go late. Because both Rubik, Nature's Prophet, even Warlock, they're not amazing heroes against Morphling in general. Morphling can also just crush down on the Infernals later on in the game. They will die so fast as some right clicks. So I think MVP, they're just trying to finish this.
Yeah, that's kind of my concern too, the Morphling just being nigh unkillable against MVP's lineup. But even if he doesn't have farm, well, they have what, a Rubik lift for a disable and an ice path outside of Chaotic Offering. That's basically the entirety of their disables kind of rolled into one. But I will also say that if they manage to get everything in conjunction, like Fatal Bonds into an Offering, into some big AoE, I think everybody but the Morphling will actually die.
Yeah.
Like, the damage output in that kind of an AoE is pretty tremendous. So maybe MVP Phoenix are going for kind of a Death Volley strat, but it's not a super conventional one.
And there's nothing that should force the enemy to actually gather up for these spells. Like, there's no setup for Jakiro. Normally you say that Jakiro, I mean, with Ice Pass, he can be the setup himself, but there's nothing really that allows all these combinations to come out yet from MVP. Maybe if they have a Shadow Fiend or some really strong DPS hero dealing damage and forcing reaction from the enemy team, actually gonna go for a Stark here. But I just don't feel like if MiTH-Trust just have good positioning, they shouldn't be caught out that much. And having Centaur, they can take some strong fights here. Centaur is a key hero in this game, I think, and a good pick. And
no one on MVP Phoenix, aside from the Slark pick that we just saw, really has a escape mechanism either.
No.
It's kind of like if you pop Stampede, everyone in MVP's just like, oh god, what do we do? So
the overrun is definitely going to be real. And with Blink Dagger on Centaur, with follow-up from Morphling with Waveform, they could burst down heroes really fast, like Rubik or even Slark. If you get a good initiation and he's not tanky enough, you could burst him down before too much reaction can come out.
Okay, and MiTH-Trust are actually going to go with a Razor. This is something that Arrow actually did. They just ended up landing a Razor mid. And the thing that people, I think, often forget about Razor is just how ridiculously hard he is to beat 1v1. Yeah. He walks at you, he static links you, you don't have any base damage. Even if you harass him, you can very easily just start bottle crowing, send yourself extra regen, and you dominate the lane so hard in terms of base damage that no one can really compete with it.
Yeah, and you don't even need more than like 2 levels of static links to actually control the lane. Then you can go back max for like 1 point in the unstable current and max your plasma field so that you actually deal damage really fast to creep waves. You can push, you can farm really solidly. So I think the draft from Myth is more stable, but MVP, they gotta get and make this work. If the Warlock doesn't get his farm up, if they don't get some towers down, and if Treant can actually heal up the tier 1 or tier 2 towers too much, then this is gonna be a hard game.
Well, it's looking to be a mid Slark from MVP, which I think is kind of expected. You mentioned that MVP, they do like doing the whole middle Slark and then Warlock tri-lane thing.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit weird to me because
it's wild.
If you go Warlock tri-lane and it's an aggressive tri-lane, you're hitting level 6 at what, like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Something like that, unless you completely crush your lane. And I don't really see them crushing a Morphling Shadow Demon tree. Like if that ends up being the tri-lane for MiTH-Trust, I actually think that MiTH-Trust tri-lane will kill them.
I don't know about that actually. I think that the Warlock tri-lane is quite okay in terms of this, as long as they just have all the heroes on the lane and focus on harassing. If they walk away a little bit, they could quickly be caught out by Shadow Demon Tree, and that is the danger on the lane. But as long as they sit tight together, they have the advantage in terms of range harass. They have Jakiro, who's amazing at harassing. Warlock, same thing with him. Something that I don't like when they play Warlock, though, is that they normally max Shadow Word and skill stats, and they don't even skill Fatal Bonds. Is how they played it on tri-lane last time. And I think Fatal Bonds is amazing as a spell. Even with just one level in it, it's already useful. So I'm not too sure, man. We will see how the tri-lane goes. And this is assuming that it's going to be a try versus try.
I find it really odd if they wouldn't level Fatal Bonds here. Like the synergy between...
Oh, they're changing it up, I think. This boots first Warlock, and he seems to be heading mid. A lot of boots first, actually, for MVP.
How many people? Wow, 3 people started with boots.
Yeah, and both teams. 6 boots first. Last time you saw this.
Holy, League of Legends? That's the last time I saw this, man.
Yeah, I guess. This is strange, for sure.
I mean,
even the tree running around with boots first.
I like the tree boots and I like the Razor, but I don't think anyone else really needs boots first, man.
30 seconds.
Well, it's kind of awkward to see both the Warlock and the Rubik have it. And this is, as a result, there are no sentry wards on the side of MVP because they're greedy. And meanwhile, on Myth, we actually have a lot of wards. They have sentries and observers.
Yeah.
But even so, they kind of sacrifice regeneration. That's what they're lacking. Like, there are not a lot of tangos on this team.
Yeah, the Centaur basically gets low one time, and he more or less has to go back to base, so hopefully he's not going to be running into too much trouble, but looks like it's going to be Boots first Warlock versus Boots first Razor. And I guess if you're anticipating this matchup, getting the Boots first on the Warlock is smart, because
yes.
Otherwise the Razor would be able to just keep up with you the entire time.
It makes sense for him on the mid lane, yeah, it does. But I just think that the other heroes, it's kind of crazy to see it on, but we see it's actually going to be a Nature's Prophet off lane, and he's just pulling the creeps here. This is something that people are not even doing that much anymore with Nature's Prophet off lane, and it's nice to see, because you can get some nice control in your lane here when you do this. He didn't block any of the spawns though, a little bit sad about that. If you block the small camp, you can have a nicer time on your off lane.
He might have been more worried about having 2 treants down there, because he just didn't micro it maybe as good as he could have. Because 2, you pretty much guarantee the pull. If you have 1, it might die. And then it just goes back to the lane, basically, which is what it's doing now. So eventually, what's going to happen is, with the double wave and the creep wave being into the tower, it's still going to push into him.
Yeah.
But it does also open up the possibility for MiTH-Trust to just dive him if he plays a little bit too aggressive.
If Treant paid attention there, he could just have went and pulled that camp that was pulled by the Nature's Prophet, and then pull it into a small camp because it actually spawned. That's why I say, like, I don't really like they let it spawn, because there was a chance that his pull would be useless. But this is going to be really great for Nature's Prophet, getting so much experience in under his tower. And that's pretty much all you want when you're offlaning Nature's Prophet. If you get under your tower, you can farm there. You can get gold, you can get experience, and then the hero is really useful. So he's pretty hard to shut down when controlling the treants correctly.
Well, looks like MiTH-Trust are having a little bit of issues in their safe lane, but I don't think it's going to be like ultimately game deciding or anything like that. The one concern that I have is Lakel's only has like 6 CS right now.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's just because of the fact that the lane was so poorly controlled, right? And that's something that's important to keep in mind, because if your supports can't keep the lane static, farming becomes like 10 times harder than it would be normally.
That's true. Same thing is going on top lane, though. I mean, the Slark is just now hitting 6 CS as well. So the last hits are disrupted quite a lot. I don't know how the Centaur actually managed to disrupt last hits on this lane, because it's a full tri-lane with a Slark, and Slark has a really good damage on level 1 as well. But that said, the only lane that we haven't mentioned and that is quite important in this game is the mid lane. And this lane, I would so love to see him skill Fatal Bonds, because you don't even need to click it on the Razor. You won't get perched, you can just click it on the creeps, and thus you avoid getting the perch that Razor usually uses against heroes mid. So I don't know, man. But he's comfortable with this build and gonna go for it. Of course, it's not unheard of people skilling stats on Warlock. That's pretty much one of the heroes that we think about when you say skilling stats early. But to sacrifice the Fatal Bonds, I think is that I usually skip Shadow Words instead.
With this composition too, it feels like you really would want Fatal Bonds. Like,
Yes.
having a Nature's Prophet ulti alone warrants skilling Fatal Bonds, in my opinion. Heck, even just having your ultimate warrants skilling Fatal Bonds.
Yeah, we see a surprising smoke gang here, actually, with Treant. Normally, Treants are a little bit careful, so this gang could be unexpected, but March is playing really careful. So I think he's going to be fine here. He's going to try and go for a CS. This could be dangerous.
Nah, he's got Brutes, man. Oh, wow, the Disruption actually still goes off. There's going to be a teleport reaction coming in, though. It's going to be Rubik.
Well, he could cancel that one and just be fine with it, but he's going to walk back top. Not a big concern because he has boots as well. Everyone has boots, man. So the gank failed, and this is why you don't really go for ganks with Treant, because he's very hard to use in the gank scenarios. I mean, if you have something like, hell, even a Leshrac or something with a stun, you can rely on Shadow Demon to disrupt and follow up really strongly. But level 1 Leech Seed, sure, it's an okay spell, but it's not amazing for ganks.
Yeah, I think he was just hoping the tree was able to get in range to be able to Leech Seed after the fact, because if he did, I think it would have been a dead Warlock.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's not the case, so no First Blood spill just yet. Morphling's pulled a little bit ahead in the farm department, which I don't really think is that surprising. If you start missing CS, you can just morph more agility, and then you can just be like, yep, I'm not going to miss anymore. And Lakelz is actually going for a Midas, and we'll see if QO decides to go for the same thing. But he actually bought boots first, so I don't really think he's going to be going for the Midas. With that being said, I think what you were talking about during the draft sort of rings more true as well, is that you can't really let it go that late if you're MVP, because the Morphling will just win them the game. And
Yeah.
bottom lane, we're going to see a disruption here onto Pharah. Another teleport coming in. It's the Rubik. Are they going to be able to save him this time? The waveform through the Sprout. The first one's going to come out. Lakelz, he manages to secure it.
Yeah.
The tier 2 tower.
And this is where Morphling is so amazing at diving towers as well, because he can morph up. There's even a Treant armor as well, so you'd be surprised how deep these guys can actually go when they want to kill the Furion. And yeah, hard to stay out of position, or to stay in good positioning all the time as Furion on this lane. But he's gonna try and head into the jungle now.
I think it's the right call. Like, after getting dove like that, I don't think like staying in the lane is gonna really warrant anything for him anymore.
Shadow Demon. Oh, what? He disrupted himself. The misclick. Oh god.
Could have had reason there, more than likely.
Maybe he plays with double tap self cast.
Well, the tree didn't have mana for Leech Seed.
Well, I think they can still kill the Rubik, actually, to be honest. If they just walk in close, punch him a little bit, and with the... Oh, they didn't have the waveform either. Even so, self-disruption, that sets back the Shadow Demon a little bit, because now he has to back to base to get mana, or buy a Clarity. That was awkward.
A little bit, yeah. But I don't think it's a huge deal.
No, looking back, since they didn't have waveform or Leech Seed, they wouldn't get the kill there, but it's just that now he has to back. We're actually gonna go for a pull as well. But the way the game is playing out, I would say that, sure, you don't want to go late game as MVP Phoenix, but if you farm up Slark in the beginning and you get up an early item, like, hell, even Shadowblade, it may sound like a pubby item, but in these games it's actually really effective on Slark, because you can gang and put pressure early on, and it forces the enemy team to play more safe and set back, giving space to Furion to control all the lanes. So I would say if he farms up an early Shadowblade and then starts ganging around, that's pretty much just the playstyle that MVP have to adopt.
Radiant's top tower
Yeah,
is
and I
under
think
attack.
having the Shadowblade Slark too, it's like you were saying, it's all about being able to pressure the map, because right now none of the heroes on their team really do that, until at least they start grouping up and they say, okay, we want to push with Chaotic Offering, which seems like it might be the case here, top lane.
Exactly, you want to come with that Infernal from Warlock, but they need more. They need Furions to come here if they want to really take the tower, and he has already summoned in the jungle, so not sure how they're going to get anything out of this, because they simply don't have the push.
I mean, do you just drop the rock to get the tower, or do you just use Liquid Fire?
No, I think if you drop the rock to get a tower, you're just going to get counter TP'd and like shoved away. You need the rock to be used aggressively in the fight, I believe, else it's not that effective. And Razor's going to come up here as well and try to defend. Furion not having mana to TP in and summon, I think it's really bad, so not sure about this push here.
Well, looks like they're still trying to go for it. There is level 2 Liquid Fire, but the Razor's here as well. They're going to drop the Chaotic Offering, but they don't really have much. Wow, actually, yeah, they do.
That was really nice.
Really nice pounce, actually,
Oh,
on
no,
the
it
Razor. The
does.
Courier dies to the AoE from the Golem as well. He's going to be traded off. There are teleport reactions coming in from MiTH-Trust. They use a Stampede already, and that Warlock Golem was pretty damn tanky, and the Centaur, unfortunately, not quite as tanky as he would like to be.
So the accurate pouncing from Slark was really important there to actually get him during the Stampede even. And I think he could maybe have dodged that, but that was nicely aimed to see if actually
Dire's
Treant
bottom
can't
tower
do
is
anything
under
there.
attack.
Then They're trying to hold this tower, but I don't think there's going to be any way for them to do so. But could they possibly? Could they actually not hold it?
Oh, the
Morphling actually dies meanwhile.
Yeah. The Slark just kills him behind the tower, I guess, all by himself. They're going to get a disruption off. He still has his ultimate, should just be able to pounce over the trees, and he does so.
Yeah, and meanwhile the tower going down as well. So MiTH, a little bit split focusing there, trying to defend the tower and leaving Morphling to die to a solo Slark. It wasn't great, that fight. Not in any single way.
I'm really confused on how the Morphling dies to the Slark like that. Like,
yeah.
Even if he pounces you can just morph stats, and there's pretty much no way you should be able to
I'm guessing he was very close to having waveform, but didn't actually have it and tried to waveform. I don't even know, man. You should not die to a Slark with Morphling solo, especially between your tier 1 and tier 2 tower when you have like 4 people there.
Yeah.
That was surprising. And that Warlock Infernal killing the courier with 2 AoE splashes in a row. I did not actually know that it dealt damage to a courier, but hey, that was nice. And no micro on the courier as well, so it kind of just stood there and was like, please, please no splash.
Yeah, and that's just physical as well. It goes through BKB. So
yeah.
Obviously, couriers are magic immune, so it would have to go through BKB if it hit the courier. But still, for the people who didn't know, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So still, not a bad start, actually, if you're MVP. Sure, they're not really farming in terms of CS.
Oh, it's amazing now. Because getting that tower and a courier kill and a kill on the kills, that's all they needed to actually propel them a little bit into a mid-game. And Slark is now close to finishing up a Shadow Blade as well. So I think now they have the options ahead of them, and they just need to take care of this and actually make something happen with it. They're walking through an observer though.
Yeah, there is some movement, but both teams actually scout that out. There are observers from each team basically inside of the rivers, so they know that the supports are rotating bottom. MiTH-Trust, however, they're not backing up, man. They're at the very least going to try to bait out the kills here, and there is no Warlock Golem for another 15 seconds. They even D-ward to see if there's a lane ward down here, but there is not. So it's just other lanes basically farming away. Centaur's TPing as well. He's got Stampede, but he does not have Blink.
Dire's middle tower
Centaur
is under attack.
Stampede can be enough, but they're actually gonna try and go here on Warlock. Does have the chaotic.
Yeah, but he's not. He doesn't have fatal bonds. So the damage output, it's enough to kill the Treant, but they're not really going to get anyone else out of it.
But this is okay though. They got 1 pick off. Sure, it's only a 3, but now they have the chaotic up and they can TP down with the Slark if they have to and just push down the tower. I think this should be possible to take the tower. Because of the Blink Dagger not being up yet on Centaur. Mainly that.
Yeah, and they already used Stampede too. So
yeah, pulling the creeps away with the Golem here as well, even minusing some creeps. And this tower is really hard to defend.
Well, they're still trying. I mean, the Treant's making his way back down here, and the Golem is still alive. The Golem's actually being used to just kill the creep wave at this point.
Slark fighting Morphling 1-on-1 again, but this time Morphling just waving away.
Yeah.
Doesn't want any of that. But this Golem is so strong at zoning people in the early game. Just look at how they have to back away. I think they could actually kill it now if they want to turn around and just slay it, but even so, they're being shoved away from the tower, and that's nice gold going the way of MVP.
Damage is done. Looks like the Golem actually does get killed by the Centaur, so he gets 100 extra gold for that. But I think it's actually really nice to be able to walk down a lane, drop a Golem, maybe only get 1 kill, but still be able to force the tower. If MVP can keep doing that, that's exactly the game plan they want. And
yes.
Forev this entire time, like he's got a MiTH now, he's got Shreds. Sure, it's not the fastest timing in the world, but that's really all the Prophet needs to start off. And now he's going to start getting even more levels. He'll get level 2 Wrath of Nature soon, and that's when you really start making just a crap load of money and being able to push in all the lanes. So I think MVP are in pretty good shape so far. But, yeah. I mean, Lakel's also has enough money for his ultimate orb. He's more than halfway to his Lincolns.
Oh, actually a pick off there by Slark, completely solo killing the Centaur. No way to stop a Slark from killing you when he can just Dark Pact your stun.
Yeah, it's incredibly painful, especially considering how telegraphed the hook stomp actually is.
Yeah, it's something that you see coming miles and miles away, and as a Slark you can just disjoint any of those stuns. And that was an important kill as well, because he was so close to his Blink Dagger on the Centaur, like 50 gold away.
Illusion.
Now he's 300 gold away.
Minor setback. Major setback.
I think the longer it takes for the Centaur to get Blink, the better MVP are going to be, basically, in terms of being able to push and things like that. And March is going to spot out the Morphling here, but oh, he actually does skill.
Yeah, he's skilling up the Fatal Bonds now, so he has 2 levels on it, and now it's actually starting to be useful having 4 targets. In a team fight, this could be amazing. Of course, every single target shares 20% damage, and that's really big. Are they going to go for a kill here?
They
don't know if they could. This is, yeah, they need to get in on him, though. Going in with the Nature's guys. Trying to find him, disrupting.
They should have him. There's no TP coming in yet. March, he's going to get the Leech Seed. Here comes Ryzen on
Wait
the
for
Warlock.
misses.
I don't know, man. This is actually not that much damage. He's going to Shadow Ward himself. He's going to buy a TP as well. He's still
so
running away.
lonely.
The Adaptive Strike. Shadow Ward's still keeping him alive for the time
Dude,
being.
he doesn't want to die.
He's actually not going to go down.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, he finally does. Wow.
Yeah.
Just barely.
Team?
Those value points into Unstable Current, giving movement speed enough to the Razor to get in range to be able to use that Plasma Field. And yeah, I'm really surprised they didn't just TP more there, but they might be able to catch the Razor inside of the river. Slark's got Shadow Blade activated right now. He's going to get the Shadow Blade hit off. The Tether does land, and there should be a dead Razor. Even if you drain the damage, you're still going to be losing some strength. No, he backs up.
Oh, you could just...
He had mana for another pounce.
He had mana for Shadow Dancing. He could have toggled his threats. He could have killed that. But playing it safe, I guess.
I mean,
that's
like super safe.
That is super safe. Letting a Razor walk away on like 20 HP when you have spells enough to chase him. But anyway, objective gaming, going back to the mid lane. They want to push, man. They have that Infernal going.
I think they don't even need to rock here. And this is really bad if you're MiTH-Trust, because if they don't even need to ult your tier 1, that just means they're probably going to go for a tier 2. Or try to do something like Roshan.
Yeah, or even Roshan. And between those two, I think both are good choices. So Centaur, he has his Blink Dagger now, so they're trying to take a fight here, I think. They want to go.
Well, deny attempt, but they're not going to quite get it. The Centaur actually blinks away.
Yeah.
Slark tries to go in, but he's not going to be able to find anybody. But he's got level 2 Shadow Dance now, so his regen and his map presence are going to be even higher. And this is...
This Rubik has Nature's Guise. He's trying to be sneaky.
No, he is sneaky. He's
not he is the snake.
He's got that bonus 10% move speed, man.
So, if Rubik steals Nature's Guise and uses a spell, does he break Invis?
No. It works just like the other Nature's Guise, I think.
Well, if another hero than Treant uses a spell during Nature's Guise Invis, then they will actually...
Oh, he just warded. He warded into the D ward. Did they notice?
Yeah.
Okay, they see the ward now, but they didn't notice that he was
They're
there.
like, well, someone should be close then. But he's actually just creating space, you know. Meanwhile, there's a Roshan by 2 heroes here. Probably one of the slowest Roshans. But they're going to bring some more people into this.
Oh, it has a secondary tooltip when you're Nature's Guise. There's 2 of them. One of them has the duration, and the other one says it will be removed if you use a spell.
Yeah. So he's not actually Treant.
Yeah. He wishes he was, though.
Yeah, he wishes. I just thought that maybe he will get the Treant effect since he is the one casting the spell.
Yeah.
But, of course, Treant can use items or spells if he wants to in his Invis. Rubik, not so much.
This tower bait here by MiTH-Trust is not really going to be that successful. They must have no idea that Roshan's going on right now, because there's no way they would be trying to bait it for this long.
Realizing too late that Roshan is going down. And a tier 1 for a Roshan is a really good trade for MVP, because getting that Aegis up early and even the experience you get for taking Roshan is really good.
Yeah. I guess I give it to the Slark in this situation, who is probably going for a Rush Scotty, which I kind of like in this game, because against heroes
they want to defend.
Moderately tanky, yeah.
Or chase at least.
Oh, this Shadow Demon is going to be having a bad time. He's only level 5. There's a Shadow Blade hit, pounce to follow it up, and
he is a sacrifice.
Even with the disruption, it doesn't really matter.
That poor Shadow Demon.
That's typical mid contribution, by the way. March hit him once, just got the kill.
Yeah. And I agree. I would also like to see the Skadi on the Slark. I mean, even you could go for the Lincolns, but I don't think it's going to do that much for you in this game. Sure, you could save yourself from E-Blade from Morphling later on, but it's not much of a concern, I think. Just go for a Skadi and be really fat.
The more hits, the more damage, man. That's all you need on a Slark. At least during the mid to late game. Like early on, you can rely pretty much on just pounce and Dark Pack damage to basically get your kills for you. But this is a huge issue because like the supports are so underleveled on the side of MiTH-Trust. I mean, I suppose the Jakira's 6, but the Rubik's 8.
Oh, they're going.
Wow, what a dodge, actually. The Stomp still hits, but the Pounce is going to get him clear over the little chasm there to safety. And the Disruption goes off, but that's going to be a Golem, and they're going to try to dive this. There's the Stampede as well. The Overgrowth was also used, and it looks like this poor Centaur, man. He just can't really do anything about it. The tower's going to die as well. They might be able to take the Aegis off of the Slark, but...
Dude, like Kelsey's getting 2 towers mid. He had a double damage rune, and he's almost taken down the tier 2 tower. They have split pushed a lot during this, so not a horrible trade actually. I mean, sure, you lose your Centaur, but they got 2 towers mid.
That Liquid Fire, unfortunately, not
doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Courier does not give a fuck. He already died once, so doesn't want to die again.
So 2 towers for 1, definitely worth, but they did lose this Centaur too. I still think that's worth it for MiTH-Trust. Like, even if they lost like 2 or 3 people, I think it's still worth it.
Yeah, especially when you're behind. I mean, when you're behind, you want to get anything, so even a 1-for-1 tower trade is like good for you, but getting 2 towers is just really nice. And now Morphling being the one to push that down, he has his Lincolns finished up in 1,000 gold to go with it. So he could actually start getting some farm. He's only sitting on brown boots still though, which makes sense because you want to go boots of travel as early as possible in this hero. But I would expect him to just finish up E-Blade first.
So do you, yeah, you think E-Blade in this situation? Because that was going to be the next question that I asked. I think E-Blade is really solid for picking off the squishier heroes. Like Nature's Prophet actually just dies to an E-Blade combo, I think.
Yeah, he kind of dies. Depends how low you go. The thing is that this Nature's Prophet also did exactly what I wanted him to do in this game, going for Orchid instead of going, oh, are they going to try here on Morphling? I don't think they
ate his Lincolns. And he's got an Orchid as well. He's
Shadow
dead.
Demon, do something.
He's dead, man. Can't do anything.
Oh, the Shadow Demon, he was there and ready for this gank, but then he didn't do anything at all when Morphling got ganked.
Well, there's going to be a Disruption, Demonic Purge onto Forev. And they're going to pop Stampede too, but it just simply doesn't matter. The Centaur is going to be able to get Forev in the background, teleport out, trying to have it from the Shadow Demon, but not going to work.
Oh, this is just really, really sad for Myth. I thought they were ready for this gang since they had Shadow Demon standing behind Morphling. You could have walked in, even disrupt the Nature's Prophet, and it would be fine. But hey, I don't know. And I would say that going E-Blade on Morphling in this game, it's pretty much always a good thing, to be honest. You push faster with it, you farm a lot faster, and you have this option to kill people when you're in a fight. As opposed to what you're gonna go for any other item build like Helm of Dominator or something. You're not that strong when a fight erupts. You're only a farming hero, and you farm really fast with E-Blade as well.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Yeah, I mean it still gives you 40 agility and 10 strength, 10 intelligence, which is pretty damn good. But the push coming out here from MVP, the Chaotic Offering is going to be up here, and I think he's going to just wait until he hits level 11, I would imagine, because he's so close. He's only 38 experience away. And this tier 2 is just getting eaten alive by Liquid Fire. And even though the tree is here, he's going to try to heal it, but it just doesn't matter. Like, they can just walk in and just start going for kills. And even Ryzen, excuse me, has a Blink Dagger. He blinked forward looking for a Telekinesis, but he couldn't find one.
There's a Blink on Bombshell as well on the tree end, so they have this combination of tree end and Centaur going in, but it's not really a lethal killing combo. And there's no huge setup either. They have Morphling and Razor, which are kind of slow at killing people. So, I don't know. It feels like they can't take a fight out right now, and they just need to go for a split push. Try to keep this tower alive for as long as possible. Did a pretty good job in doing so, but now it's just going to get man down.
Well, this is all done basically without the use of even having the Golem, and it's going to be, what, anywhere from like 2 to 5 minutes where Roshan's going to be alive again?
Yes, and this Nature's Prophet, he's so strong in this game as well. Look at his gold and look at his farm. Many games we see a team, they get this mindset that we are going to push in this game. We want to get a Necro book because we kind of have to push. And it's a really expensive item, and some games it just doesn't deliver. It doesn't do that much, and it really doesn't speed up your farm speed at all. Compared to an Orchid, which this game has propelled Nature's Prophet to such a high farm state. He's going to go for a Maelstrom as well, next item, and he deals ridiculous amount of damage.
Yeah. I mean, his right-click in conjunction with the Orchid, like between him and the Slark, they can kill anyone on the map if they get caught out solo. There's not a single person who can live through that. Well, maybe the Razor can, if you drain somebody.
No, it's really unlikely though. They really hurt him.
They're going to find a Prophet. There's a Blink forward. Hoof Stomp's going to be there. He needs to be able to Stampede. Yeah, there we go. That's what we were looking to see.
Yeah, this is the pick-off power. Like, this is why I thought Centaur would be a great hero in this game, because he's so strong at just finding the picks and getting kills for your team. But Myth, they need more than this. Like, I don't think they can push with 1 kill. At least they will stop the push that's coming in on mid lane on bottom, but I don't see how they're going to win this fight.
I don't know.
Nature's Prophet even, he was buying up his Mithril Hammer, but sold it again now during his death time. He bought and sold it to make sure that he has the buyback ready. And that's the danger. Like, you kill Furion, almost always he will have buyback and the global TP, so he could be anywhere. And you can't really go in and fight against the Skadi Slark this early, I think.
Yeah, especially not with the Morphling not having his E-Blade actually completed, because unless they can just go in and like pop somebody straight away, their damage output is really not that high at this point. So
no, it's not.
If you're MiTH-Trust, like early game, how did it go so wrong?
Well, they just some misplays in general that just couldn't happen, I think, and it's just too much, you know. It's small things, but like Shadow Demon there on bottom lane baiting for the Morphling, and then kind of not going in when Morphling is being initiated upon, and that results in him going in too late, and they both die, and they almost lose a third as well. Like, it's just, I think the idea was pretty much there all the time on how they wanted to play, but it's just, it didn't play out correctly.
Yeah, I think even just the stuff like the Treant, or excuse me, Nature's Prophet getting the pull off, even that can be a huge deal.
Yeah.
Because you get yourself, what, like 2 or 3 levels from that, and the Centaur definitely didn't have quite as good of a time, I think, as the Nature's Prophet did. And even if the Centaur does well in his lane, the Prophet always has the recovery method and being able to just teleport wherever he wants and continue to farm, so.
Yeah, and they even went into jungle with Nature's Prophet after his first death, and then just allowed Rubik to take some experience on the lane. And that's also like a case where Shadow Demon completely wasting a spell. I'm not saying this had a huge impact, but trying to go for kills where they can't get kills, it feels like MiTH, they weren't really on the same page all the time there. Because SD tried to go in for a kill where no one else had mana, and then he actually self-cast as well. But it's just, the execution has to be correct when you're this greedy, because Morphling is a very greedy pick. You want to go into late game and you're playing as a pretty hard pushing strat. Then if you, basically if you fuck up a little bit in the early game, you get punished so hard, and you will be sitting in your base.
Well, fortunately for MiTH-Trust, they're not actually to that point yet.
No.
Like, they're not sitting inside of their base. They're still trying to make things happen. In terms of towers, they're only 2 behind. Like, the Tier 2 off lane and Tier 1 are still alive. But if they can get this tower, killing the Tier 1 at 22 minutes in isn't really a big issue. You basically can just push it out and kill it. Unless...
I think they, to be honest, I think they're in a better spot than they should have been, just because of that trade that they got on mid lane where Morphling had a DD rune activated. I don't think the MVP were ready for the split push being that fast from Morphling right there, but he was maxing agility and pushing with double damage, so he pushed faster than the entire team of MVP while they were fighting Centaur. So getting that trade for MiTH was really, really important.
That base damage, man.
That base damage.
That's what makes Morphling such a good hero for Manta and all that other good stuff, because all his damage is base damage.
Yeah.
Really good with Revenge.
Yeah, really is. And a thing that we haven't mentioned in this game that we have come to this point now is level 11 and Aghanims and Warlock. This is going to get scary. That's why I'm saying that MiTH, they can't really push now. I mean, Warlock is completely online. Having these spells, you will die so fast if you stand next to Infernal. We even saw on the top lane push, that was level 1 Infernal with no Aghanims. Sure, people were weaker back then, but right now, it's much bigger of a difference as well. MVP ready, and it seems both teams are going to be ready to go soon. Slark does not have a TP at all. That's the only thing that there's a little bit of a concern. So if MiTH managed to force the fight really fast, he's going to be late to a party, but I think you just get out at this point.
He's almost hasted, though. I mean, it's 480 move speed.
It's a Slark.
And he can just Shadow Blade for the bonus move speed, even if he wants to try to get to the fight that much faster. So we'll see what they decide to do. It's going to be actually teleports out. They're like, nope.
Playing it safe.
Here. That tactics pause, man. It's like, what do we do? Let's back.
Tactics.
Invisibility.
Special tactics. So a thing that I don't like in this game for MiTH is something that is very similar to Viper. And it's that Razor, to me, he feels like a hero that falls off. He really does. Like, sure, he can be pretty great if you get your Aghanims Refresher or whatever. Slark, looking for a kill here. Don't think he can find anything even with Fury in support. But I just feel that he falls off.
They're baiting this pretty nicely. He might... Oh, they drop a sentry. They spot him. He's going to be able to leap away, though.
Yeah, he's going to be just fine. So, actually walking away. I like that he's looking for kills aggressively, though. You always got to be on top of your gank game when you're playing Slark. Especially when you have this much items finished up anyway. You just want to press the advantage.
Yeah.
Warriors of the wood.
All right.
So,
like we're gonna
more tactics.
Have another pause.
Yes.
Somebody is having some mouse issues.
Yes. Little bit so. So, I mean, we're talking about how it's a push strat from MVP and how MiTH kind of have to hold. But do you actually feel that MiTH are that much stronger in late game?
Well, the way it's going right now, a lot of the way that the late game is going to go is pretty dependent on how much farm people actually have, because late game can be 35 minutes, it can be 65 minutes, right? Like, all that's still considered late game. It just depends on how much of an advantage you manage to glean through the first, like, half an hour or so of the game.
Yeah.
So with that being said, like, the Razor is not that far behind the Nature's Prophet and the Slark, But like you were saying, Eraser doesn't really have that huge impact. He's pretty much just going to walk in, static link, and hope that he can drain somebody enough to actually become a threat. Whereas the Nature's Prophet's going to be able to pressure the entirety of the map. The Slark already has big map presence because all he has to do is Shadow Blade, and 3 people have to stand on top of each other just to make sure he doesn't pick somebody off.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have that kind of presence on the map, I think that like the more teams develop and the better people get at Dota, it's not so much about who has the best late game hero per se anymore as it is who can actually do the most with their lineup in the late game.
Yes. And I think that the way this is playing out, I mean, we say that Furion and Slark are not that far ahead of the Razor, for example, but Furion's items are completely directed at propelling him into a faster farm speed and just going into late game at a better pace. Whereas Razor, he's going for his teamfight build, but they're not stronger in the teamfight anyway. So I just feel like he's becoming a little bit of a non-factor. Sure, he has farm because, hey, he was solo mid, but it's just getting harder at this point, I think.
And does BKB really do that much good?
I don't think so. I mean, it lets you tank a little bit more. It does prevent the Essence Shift and so on from the Slark and all the damage from his spells, but it's not really going to keep you alive when Warlock drops his ulti on you.
Well, we'll see if MiTH-Trust can manage to stem the tide, as it were. And this whole time, like, Nature's Prophet's just farming his woods. That's the thing, is MVP are actually playing so aggressive that normally you would see the Nature's Prophet being the one who's like side lane pushing and things like that. But he's actually taking the safest farm on the map. He's letting everyone else on his team go out there and put their lives on the line. And it's very close to being a dead Nature's Prophet there as the Centaur and the Treant were nearby.
He's walking away as well. I mean, he wants to keep his global TP ready now. Feels awkward seeing Nature's Prophet walk this far. He's an old man. Anyway, mid lane, I think they're gonna just push here, and I don't really see again how Myth are gonna take this fight. Sure, they have the stampede and trying to overrun your enemy, but how do you overrun something that's so much stronger than you?
Is under attack.
Yeah, it's gonna be an issue, man. The only bright side I think the MiTH-Trust have right now is the fact that it's only like 200 gold away until the Morphling finally gets his E-Blade, and then they can maybe start looking to take some semblance of a team fight. Because right now they're just playing it super passive. They're sitting behind their tower. The Liquid Fire makes tower killing just a joke.
Yeah,
you go
removing 50% of attack speed on a tower. I mean, your creeps just don't die.
Yeah, and they know there's a ward here, man. I like that ward. It's pretty neat. It's like a guy with a sword with an eyeball in it, man.
Yeah, it looks cool. And they actually know that there was a ward, but they didn't kill it. Because, well, actually they don't. They think that there's a ward. They knew that Slark got revealed, but that sentry ward doesn't reveal the ward.
Wow, look at that.
That is, like okay. So they think that they scouted that top now, and they don't understand why Slark got revealed, but they're just gonna get out.
I think it's a safe bet, honestly, just to wait for Roshan. Because their team can do Roshan without basically having anyone lose life. And it's not like MiTH-Trust are amazing inside of the Rosh pit. The only thing that you have to worry about is like a 4-man hoof stomp or an overgrowth.
And they're actually smoking up here, trying to go for something. Gonna be revealed from the smoke here, Centaur. Walking close to the Warlock. But seems that they're just gonna walk out. They know that Roshan is not dying right now, at least. But Furion is just pressuring side lanes. Going into a jungle now, though, and just gonna farm up. I think he could pressure side lanes more when they saw that Centaur was being revealed there.
Well, there's a gem now on the Slark too, so no more wondering where the heck the ward is. It's going to be a game of I'm just going to de-ward everything because they can't actually kill the Slark.
Oh, walking into a sentry here, though.
I mean, he walks into a sentry. He's going to get stomped. Overgrowth there. Wow, that burst damage.
That E-Blade.
The gem.
Okay, that was a huge kill for them right there, getting the gem as well as the kill on Slark, who was dominating as well, and that's gold going directly towards the bank of Morphling. So suddenly, a little bit of a turning point here, and if they could pressure at least down bottom lane or something, get something going.
Oh, Roshan's up.
Yeah, I don't know if they can go for a Roshan straight away, but they can force a buyback maybe by going for it.
I think with Tree Armor they can do it, man.
We will see. It's 28 seconds on Slark, so I think he would have to buy back if they want to stop this. And seems MVP are just going to sit back. I don't think they want to give this away so easily. But if they do, then suddenly Myth are in an amazing spot, really.
Yeah, the Morphling getting an Aegis at this point would be absolutely massive. And you can see the MVP are kind of flustered right now. They're like, we want to go in, but we really can't without our Slark.
Oh, they're not reacting in any single way. They need to either go for Roshan or push the side lane. They're going to try and steal something. Ulti from Warlock.
Yeah, they're going to throw it in, and wow, it almost instantly kills the tree. The Ice Path is going to go in as well. The Age is still on the ground. Lakelz finally picks it up, blink up to the high ground from the Centaur. He's going to get a stomp on 2. The Treant coming in from behind. Ryzen looks like he's going to be the first one to actually drop inside of this team fight, and everyone else is just running the heck away. They do not want any part of this. Teleport out by KNK.
Yeah, Lakelz actually jumping away so early there. I think he kind of sold his teammates, to be honest. Like, he took the Aegis, and then he was like, fuck this, I'm out, with his replicate. So his entire team just got caught with handing Cookie Jar and stuff like that.
Yeah, they managed to get the tree right at the end of the engagement too, but I mean, getting the Aegis is a victory in itself, honestly, if you're MiTH-Trust here. And
it's a victory in itself, but also, I don't know. They could have at least tried to burst someone with Morphling before he jumps away. I feel like he was panicking way too much just jumping away there. He had so much mana, he had like 350 mana after jumping away. So, I don't know. I think that was just weird.
Well, I mean, he's got his bots now, he's got E-Blade, he's got Linken's and MiTH. Now he maybe goes for something like a Manta if he wants to.
Yeah, the gem did go back to MVP, by the way, after that kill. So
yeah.
that was actually pretty big. Or I think, yeah, it went back, but they also bought a gem on MiTH by now. So gems on both sides, and now it's mostly about who can press out the side lanes the most. And I don't reckon that any of these teams can push too much before the next Roshan, actually. Sure, MiTH, they can try and force something with their Aegis on bottom lane, but I don't know how much they can force MVP around. It depends on Furion and how proactive he is.
The Furion's not really been proactive at all, though.
No,
like the way that
he
MVP play
hasn't.
it. He just sits in the woods. I mean, he doesn't actually farm anything. He lets the Slark farm.
I don't really approve of the way the Furion has been playing. When they went in, oh, actually gonna try on Centaur here. Start completely alone and actually just disintegrates.
Another gem.
That was a risky kill to try for, but yeah, gem goes back, so now 2 gems.
Wait, why did he drop his Tranquil boots? Just go get your boots back. You don't need to carry the gem, man.
Drop magic one instead, maybe?
Yeah, that item is worth maybe. Oh, he just gives a gem to the Shadow Demon.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Good.
And that's fine.
So Treant actually scouting out the Warlock here. Gonna stalk him around. And I don't know if they can catch here. I think they're just walking into tower just fine. But Morphling gotta come in here. Could kill Warlock maybe.
Yeah, there's no golem right now. Lakelz going in. There's the E-Blade combo. The Centaur actually is able to get the stomp, but not the double edge. Telekinesis from Ryzen just a little bit too fast. And Ryzen has yet to steal a spell right now. And
also no mana for away from there for Morphling. Gotta go in though. Diving deep here for Furion. I think he's gonna be sacked.
Yeah, there's no way they could save him. I mean, the Slark is still dead. And the Slark's actually going BKB, which I kind of think is okay. I think a Linken's actually would have been enough.
I don't know about... Yeah, I don't know about this build. Sure, I guess he dies really fast to the spell damage, but he's mostly dying because every single spell is being used on him, and he's completely alone. But I guess he wants to be tanky enough to go in completely alone and get something done. But I don't think he has the damage to do anything at this point. I mean, I don't feel that BKB is going to be the best item in a team fight for him. Sure, it allows you to like get rid of the overgrowth or whatever, but you're a Slark. You have your Dark Pack for that. I think he would need Basher or Maelstrom or something to keep him up in this game. The good thing is that at least the Furion has a lot of damage. But we were talking right before his fight about how Furion is not playing very proactive Dota. He's not split pushing the lanes. Yeah. He's not trying to abuse MiTH around the map. And I think this is a huge setback for them. If the Furion did pay more attention to where MiTH are going on the map and trying to anticipate their movement, I think he could have gotten away with much more, like MVP could have had so much more space.
It's kind of one of those situations where even though MVP have 3 heroes that have a decent amount of farm, eventually the Chaotic Offering is not going to be that scary anymore, and there's going to be a point where MiTH-Trust are able to say, okay, we can just straight up fight, and we might be seeing one of those here, because the Warlock Golem is up, basically everything is up, and they're going to run right into each other.
A lot of
Slark is going to lead the charge right now. He's going in as far as he can. The Link is actually not broken yet. The Golems come down. The Shadow Demon does manage to get the disruption off on himself, but the Golems and the Chaotic Offering, or excuse me, the Fatal Bonds just doing so much work right now, and Forev, he's going to get E-Bladed right there. The Adaptive Strike to follow it up, and there's only 1 dead right now. It's on the side of MiTH-Trust. The tree getting quite low as well. And Lakelz looks like he's going to be in some trouble here. He does have an Aegis. He's going to be repopping for the tree.
Oh, he might die straight after here. Should be a nice path on him, but no mana actually. Now he gets mana. Yeah, this is a dead Morphling. Yeah, I don't really like the fact that Morphling immediately runs away and lets his team get focused when he's the one with Aegis. You want to be in the front line and kill someone during the time that the enemy team focused you, your team has more space, and I think they took a weird team fight there, Myth. But they were probably not ready for a full 5-on-5 fight, but that's where you have to be against a Fury and lineup. Like, there's always going to be a big fight.
And I think even without getting a tower or anything out of that, it was definitely worth it for MVP. Like, just killing the Morphling 2 times in a row, and the fact that he doesn't even have buyback, they could potentially apply some pressure to the tier 3s here, but MVP got the moral victory, right? Like, they went in, they killed the Morphling back-to-back. The rest of MiTH-Trust, and this is kind of the thing that we were talking about during the draft, if you get Fatal Bonds offeringed, it doesn't matter if the Morphling can live through it, the team doesn't live through it.
Yeah.
Like, everyone pretty much just dies. And now they're going to realize there's a ward in the base because they just threw out a...
And with the refresher, I mean, he didn't drop the double chaotic there, but he did refresh, and he had the possibility to drop even more. So sure, the team fight is really hard to take against MVP right now, even with finding out. And the BKB was actually really good in that fight. I'll give them that, because Morphling was still trying to burst down the Slark like they have done several times now, and this time there was a BKB. No way to kill him.
Well, if you're MiTH-Trust right now, you are stuck between a rock and a hard place, man. I mean, the Morphling has a decent amount of farm, but he's pretty much the only one. The Furion and the Slark are really, really massive right now, and the Razor's basically head-to-head with the Warlock in terms of overall GPM. And because of the fact that there's a refresher on the Warlock too,
yes.
Like, I'm pretty sure that fight where there was only one golem.
Yes, there was only one.
He had to refresh it to use the first golem.
Yes.
Oh, Pound's going to miss here. Bottom. Soulcatcher's going to land on the Slark, and Lakel's looking like they wanted to go for the E-Blade combo right there. The Orchid is actually on the range creep instead, but they still might be able to burst down the Slark, and they do. The Chaotic Offering comes down. This poor Centaur, he's going to pop Stampede, but he's going to get stuck inside a little bit, and
Centaur should be going down here, and Tree is also kind of caught out. He has a gem himself, and seems to be actually going to go fine.
He's fine.
Okay. He's fine.
That's kind of strange.
Guess he's fine. Well, there was Sentry Wards on Warlock, so I guess he lives within this. A little bit of a misplay by March to just have dropped the Sentry and killed him. But either way, nice for him to get out there and actually kill the Stark, so a huge victory for Myth. I did not think that they would get out that clean from the fight.
And to be honest, the fact that they made him, or made March use another Chaotic Offering is pretty nice, because that means it's going to be another 2 minutes straight before they have a double ulti.
Yeah. You never want to have your ultis desynced on Warlock. You want to be able to drop all 4 of your rocks at the same time, because then you know that I'm winning this fight for my team, like completely on my own.
Yeah.
And if you're just dropping one ulti with, sure, it's a level 2 ulti and it's pretty good with Aghanims, but it's not enough to crush a team fight as we see. But if he had double ulti, that would be enough to just force the enemy team to run away.
And Razor's actually picked up a Diffusal Blade now, so they'll be able to get rid of one of the 4 golems.
Yes.
Which I suppose is it really worth it to just get rid of one?
It's a decent pickup, to be honest. It's...
Oh, the Kells might be in some trouble. They're going to go in with the counter stomp, though. Wow, this Slark is almost getting annihilated instantly. Does pop the BKB, but he gets Overgrowth inside, so he's not able to chase. He finally does have his Dark Pact off cooldown, leaps inside of the Sprout. And this tree, man.
This tree. That was really close to killing the Slark once again, and if they got that kill, that would have been amazing. But Slark is really tanky now. With Skadi and BKB and like level 18, he's hard to burst. Really hard.
I mean, he dropped pretty low there. That was pretty close to him just immediately dying. And with Soulcatcher,
yeah,
like the damage output is pretty insane.
I think they should have had more levels in Soulcatcher. I don't agree with getting more points in Disruption before Soulcatcher. Because
they would have killed them there.
Yeah, they would have killed. Like a lot of these kills, they have E-Blade and they have Soulcatcher, which is an insane combo. Just HP just disappears. But if you have level 2 Soulcatcher, it's just a little bit lackluster.
Well.
And most people will never skill this way on Shadow Demons, so it's unconventional.
I think a lot of people go for the max poison, but not a lot of people max disruption.
Yes, exactly.
Basically. So, either way, MVP looking to have their map control advantage back, and they can keep the lanes pushed in more or less with the best of them. And we just saw during the last couple of fights that Foreva's managed to secure himself a BKB as well, so lots of Magic immunity coming out on the side of MVP. If you're March right now, I guess maybe you go for something like a Shiva's, or maybe you just go Book as well.
I would probably say Shiva's, yeah. Or even a Force Staff, to be honest, just to have that available. Because Myth, they really rely on keeping you still. Like Centaur, the Roof Trellin, or Tree and Protector, sorry. These heroes, they just rely on keeping one hero still. And you could even save your teammates if you have a Force Staff. But Shiva's would be pretty amazing as well, just giving some more tank ability. But I would say that Myth, they are not in a super bad spot, even though they failed to burst the Stark there on bottom lane. Sure, you're going up with Morphling, who's alone gonna have to carry a lot in this game. And Razor, sure, he has his Diffusal Blade and he's not gonna do that much. I think that Morphling could be okay in this game, like to carry against this team, because Slark, he's strong, but he's not getting that much out of hand, right?
His item progression is slowed pretty significantly, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty and BKB are not farming items at all. They're fighting items, and he has been fighting. But he went from 4-0-4 to 6-3 and 8, so
yeah.
He has died a lot.
I think the 2 deaths that he had were basically when he was all on his own, basically put MVP in the situation in the first place. Whereas normally if he just continued having the kind of game that he was having and he didn't make any mistakes, the game might have actually just been over by now.
Yeah. Look at his damage, by the way, on Furion now, trying to go for a Roshan attempt. Adding up Desolator, he hits like a truck.
Yeah. He's going to be able to pretty much just melt through anyone. And if you're Lakels right now, do you go for the Finish Manta just to get rid of the Orchid, or do you go for a Scotty just to say, look, I'm going to be
I would most definitely say the Manta. Of course, you want to have your buyback as well, so that's why he's saving for it, but I think he will buy the Manta straight off. It's a really good pickup.
They're also favoring the Slark never dying again, basically. They've given him the Aegis and the cheese. So instead of sharing
they're
it
like,
with
hey man,
else,
you're feeding too much. Take Aegis and cheese.
I think
no, serious, man. Take both.
It's pretty legit. I mean,
it's okay. I mean, I don't think that you need to put both at the same time on the same hero. You could pass it, right? You could have the cheese ready on someone like Warlock if they're going for him, and if Aegis gets bursted on Slark, you can pass over a cheese, Cloud9 style.
Yeah, that's true. I think the biggest thing is maybe they just want the Slark to go in, like straight away. It says, look, even if you go in and die immediately, it's fine because the Warlock will almost guaranteed be able to get an ult off. Yeah. I mean, that's really what you want to do at this stage, I think, if you're MVP. Just run into him and say, like, yell really loud and distract them so they ignore March, and then March is able to get a really good bonds into a chaotic offering and then just go high ground.
I think so, too.
This is, like, the best possible position that MVP could be in. They have a cheese, they have an Aegis, they have double ulti as well on the Warlock. Just go ham.
Go ham. Teamfight should erupt here pretty shortly. Furion TP'd back with his normal TP. Or, no, actually with his global TP, doesn't have a normal one.
It's only 20 seconds cooldown, though.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But he's just going to push here. That's why they're not trying to initiate the fight just yet on MVP. But now, TP is available, and this is dangerous for Myth. Really, really dangerous. If they lose a fight here and lose their tower, it's pretty much impossible to recover, I think, because sure, Morphling is good at killing heroes and like all that stuff, but he's not a hero that clears big creeps fast. He isn't. There are a lot of carriers that can do it, but Morphling is not one.
Well, the Razor, the Centaur, and the Morphling all have buyback, as do Prophet and Slark, but I don't think Slark's buyback is really that relevant here due to the fact that he can't just globally TP back in. But of course, it's nice to have it on Forev if he wants to come back into the fight after the fact. So they're going to go high ground again. They're going to get a little bit of chip damage on the tower. Going to eat through the living armor. And QO doesn't really have
mid.
any.
They're going on the Furion. Actually bursting down really fast. So nice pick off. Gonna have to go home and defend though.
Yeah, the BKB's popped by the Razor. Teleport coming in. That's a buyback by Forev. He's going behind enemy Lions, man. He pops the BKB. They're going to use Stampede as well to retrieve.
He's going to die here.
Forev is actually going to die back. They do manage to kill the Razor, but he buys back straight into the game as well. Blink forward by the Centaur. He's going to get Overgrowth. That was actually stolen by Reason. Another Hoof Stomp comes. Here comes the BKB out of QO, and he's just going ham on the Centaur right now, but just not enough damage. And Lakels, in the meantime, he manages to pick up a triple. March is dead. Forev has died again inside of the base some time ago. Lakels might be in some trouble himself here, though. Uses the E-Blade, keeping himself alive for a little bit longer. Centaur finally goes down. Heen throws Ice Path after the high ground. It latches to Abba. There's going to be another defensive disruption coming out from the Shadow Demon. And QO, he still has his Aegis, but he's going to try to run. And Lakels, he's going to be assisted by
Can't get away, man.
to help get a kill.
Oh, he's going for it. He's going to try and kill the Razor. He will do so. Centaur's back, though.
I think he's going to be able to kill them both. There's still an Aegis here. I mean, Reason's going to be alive. He's got the gem on him. TNK, disruption is off cooldown. He's going to get the disruption off on the Slark. Unfortunately, Darkpack doesn't actually get rid of that spell. And Reason's still got a couple seconds left on his telekinesis. Not enough mana for it anyway.
He dead.
And that Shadow Poison.
In the end, this is a really good trade, though, for Myth. I mean, they have their tier 3 tower still standing, and Morphling got a lot of kills. Sure, Razor died. He purged 3 golems in that fight.
Razor died back, actually.
Yeah, he died back as well, but even so, he got a lot going for him, and Furion died as well. I think getting rid of the Aegis and the cheese, I believe, this is pretty much as good of a fight as you can take. I don't think that you can ask for straight up winning a fight against Myth when they have Aegis, cheese, and this much gold advantage against you, but they pretty much drew even with a little bit of an advantage, not dying on their Morphling at all. And sure, Slark didn't die either, apart from losing his Aegis and his cheese, but Morphling not dying is bigger. He is the one man to carry them all. Slark isn't.
I'm just amazed that Lakelz was able to stay in the fight for that long. Like, he went mid, they managed to pick off Rev the first time. He replicated back to base, got 2 more kills, and
the
didn't
Furious
end up
TP
dying.
was horrible though. It was really, really bad.
Yeah. The one where he teleported into the base was definitely not where you want to go. Maybe he was just super overconfident because he had BKB.
Yeah.
That he would be able to just stand there. But the
And
thing
then-
is,
Then Treant.
this Morphling is, like, huge right now.
Yeah, he got overgrowth and then stood still and died. But even if overgrowth was not there, Shadow Demon could have ulted him and he would die just the same.
Yeah.
So I think you shouldn't be overconfident just because you have a BKB. That's why I'm saying Force Staff would be an amazing item to have on MVP, and they don't have a single Force Staff. So a little bit sad about that. Could have been good. But they have the entire Aghanims now on Rubik, so he can actually look to steal a lot of spells in this next fight.
Question is, what spells do you steal? Apparently, he hasn't been able to get his hands on Morph this whole game.
Yeah, you want to steal Stampede and Overgrowth. These are 2 biggest spells.
I think getting Soul Catcher would be nice too.
Razor.
Wow, that's a golem, man. He even refreshes, drops another set of golems on this Razor. He's still trying to walk. What, is he trying to TP? Okay, that. I think if he just walked away, he would have been fine.
Yeah, or at least force them to chase him for a very long time and give space for this Morphling to split push top. But now, how are they going to defend here? I guess commitment for MVP is because they know there's no buyback on this Razor. Do they kill him? Then it's 4 on 5. So this is really hard to defend.
It's going to be a base trade, I think.
Could
I don't think
be.
MiTH-Trust have any intention of trying to defend this. I mean, how can they?
I don't think they can. I think they should just go straight in for the throne trade, to be honest. Just force the enemy back, and they're already being forced to TP.
Well, they are going to be teleporting back here. The tower is eventually going to go down. Orchid already used. And, oh man, MVP are actually the ones who are going back. They're going to see the Centaur inside of the base, who is also TPing away.
Yeah, and they got 1 Rax already. Sure, they're being hammered down by the Infernals, but they're not doing that much damage against buildings because they don't have this, like, the AoE damage. So, in the end, a really amazing trade. MiTH, man. They got a kill, they got a Rax, they got the tier 3 tower as well because it was already standing as well. So, MiTH, all they really got was 1 tower. They got nothing else.
You mean MVP?
Yeah, exactly. MVP.
Yeah, MVP not actually. Why did they drop double golems on the Razor?
Dude.
Why did the Razor try to TP?
Decision making. 4.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the golems have a special ability
That hurts.
It's basically a cleave, and it's a physical cleave. So BKB doesn't block it.
Yeah.
And it also makes it so Desolator makes that ability do more damage.
Yes.
So the Razor BKB'd and tried to TP with 4 golems hitting him and getting auto-attacked by almost the entirety of MVP. If he walked away, he would have been fine. But it worked out because they pretty much had to push after the golems are used. If you refresh your offering and you don't get any towers out of it at this stage in the game, that's still a huge win for MiTH because it's, what, like 3 minutes before you can do that again?
Yeah. It's a long time. 165 seconds is, you know, it's not really, oh, wait, mid. Trying to go for a kill here is Morphling.
Yeah, I think he's actually okay for the time being. He actually already uses Manta, though. He's going to be taking quite a bit of damage here.
Yeah.
He'll be able to walk away. He does have his...
Oh, he jumped
Scotty
away.
finish.
He has his travels, but his team is being chased. I think he's going to have to help them.
Oh, BKB popped by the Razor, but he's not actually static linking anyone. He's kind of just going to stand there and end up going down once again. This is a really weird game, to be honest. TNK is going to be able to teleport himself out in the tree line.
Yeah, Razor being picked up a whole lot here, and I don't know, man. You just gotta be a little bit more careful. That was a very optimistic kill attempt, I feel, by MiTH. And right now, they just need space, to be honest. Morphling, he has gold to buy items and can sell his Midas, but right now, they're just being pressured so much that he doesn't have time to switch his Midas into something useful.
I think if he gets a Butterfly, maybe he gets Lifesteal, even. I don't know.
I would say Butterfly in this game. Get
Yeah.
that evasion going, it would be amazing.
Well, Sentry on the high ground. They're going to see the Slark, and here comes Lakelz in from the back. Overgrowth is actually going to hit on 4 people. There's 1 Chaotic Offering. The second one's going to be coming down. Lakelz is basically in the middle of it all right now. He needs to be able to live through this. He's converting his stats right now. He's pulling away the Chaotic Offering from the base. He's going to bop back to the well, but this is 4 golems, and TNK just gets completely caught out by a Sprout. Forev just annihilating him with right clicks.
Oh, his TP got cancelled as well by Rubik.
Lakelz not able to actually get back in the base.
Lakelz,
That could be
this is
just
huge.
GG right there.
Yeah, this could be GG. That cancel on TP was amazing by Rubik. Yeah, I don't think they can defend second tier of racks here.
I think you just fight and then buy back immediately at this point. You don't even have time to go to the well. Like, you need to actually fight. The Kells, he's thinking about it, but he's just letting the racks die. And they're going to stampede away. Stolen stampede from MVP here. Ryzen, in my opinion, just putting himself up for MVP with the kind of stuff that he stole in this game and how he's played it.
Yeah, but that was so bad for Myth, getting picked off there. And this all came from one little bit too aggressive attempt on mid lane. To be honest, you can say the Morphlane should have TP'd sooner or try to TP where he won't be cancelled by Rubik. But that's 2 lanes of racks, and it should be a Roshan as well. All from just overextending a little bit on mid lane, losing Razor once again without buyback. Oh, it's pretty horrible, man. Dying without buyback against a Furion and a Warlock is so risky. Really risky.
Well, save your money, basically, is the moral of this game.
They didn't even go for the Roshan. They were a little bit scared of the smoke gang. The smoke came, but it was much later than they thought, I think.
So Hex now done on Nature's Prophet, and this is MiTH-Trust's last chance, I think.
Yeah,
if they can make something big happen here, they could maybe pull it out.
Oh, this is really risky for Myth.
Oh, that Macro Pyre. That's an Aghanim's Macro Pyre, by the way. Look at how far it goes. They're going to find the kills inside of the pit again. Double Stampedes coming out, actually 1 from each team. There's going to be a Hex on the kills once more. March not able to really do anything yet in this team fight, but the Razor is already dead. MVP is just doing way too much damage right now for them to be able to take out anyone in this time. Lakels, he manages to get 1 kill on Ferret, but the Nature's Prophet buys out. Maybe one of the worst targets to actually go for in a fight like this. Blink away from the Centaur. He's going to be fine. Looks like Lakels is going to be able to make it back to base. But this is assuredly going to be a Roshan again for MVP.
Yeah, and again, Razor dying. Like, this is what I felt, man. Like, Razor just falls off. The hero, sure, he's dying and you're saying maybe he's like being the tank and being the one to take all the focus from MVP. He's not really taking that much focus. He's just dying to the pure right click that is so strong. The hero has no maneuverability. It's not a 50-minute plus hero or 40-minute plus hero. Yeah. It's a hero that you want to push early with and make something happen. Very much like a Viper, even in his item build with the mech into BKB being really useful. I just feel there's too much weight on Lakell's shoulders right now, and you have to play perfect every single fight. The last fight was not perfect, and this fight that they took now, sure, you kill Furion, but he bites back, as you say.
Well, the Morphling went for BKB, which I kind of get why you would go BKB, because of the Orchid, because there's a Hex, because there's so many ways to actually disable you. But I think that being forced into a BKB just hurts MiTH-Trust's chances of winning even more. Because even if the Slark has a BKB, the Slark does a ton of damage. He's insanely mobile in fights, way more mobile than a Morphling can be.
I would say Butterfly, like straight up Butterfly. Sure, the Hex cancels your evasion, but at least then, when you're not Hexed, you won't take that much damage from the Infernals, you won't take that much damage from the Slark, and even the Furion in this game, he doesn't have a MKB. So let's see here. Top should be probably what can be the final fight. Are you going to try for a Slark? Going to go for it.
Oh, the nice BKB timing by QO. He actually disjoints the hoof stomp. Here comes one ult. The second one soon to follow. And this does not look really good for MiTH-Trust right now. MVP, they're going for the treatment right now. They're going to be able to take him down. The Macro Pyre and the Upheaval just doing insane
This is a
work,
disaster,
actually.
really.
The Centaur is going to go down. The Razor is going to be following suit shortly. Even with the BKB pop, it just simply doesn't matter. And Lakels, he's like, I've done everything I can, guys.
No buybacks available. This is most definitely game. So where do you think this game went wrong? Like, what was the... Do you think the Myth could have had this game if they played something differently or if they made different choices?
I think that actually playing a greedy team against a Warlock is kind of playing into the Warlock's hands, and Lakels is going to get annihilated here by every single person on MVP. The last set of Rex are going to be going down, most likely the end of game 1 here in the series, but I think if you pick a hero that needs as much farm as Lakels needs against a hero like Warlock, who is going to benefit, I think, from the farm just as much as you do, in the sense that you're going to hit your stride probably sooner than the Morphling will, because the Morphling needs like 3 completed items. Even just having an Ags on March is more than enough to be able to go for any kind of tower push that you want. And every single time during the early game that March dropped a golem, he got a tower.
Yes.
Like, there was no real defense pitted by MiTH-Trust, and I think maybe one of the other issues they had is they couldn't contest the early pushes.
Yeah, and they got it the way that they wanted as well, MVP, in terms of dropping a rock, getting a kill, and then pushing a tower. As long as you do that, you get experience, you get tower, you get map control, and eventually we got what we saw as well, where Roshan was so easy for MVP to go for, having that dire side as well as removing all the tower for the enemy team. So I think everything kind of went the way MVP wanted it to go, even though the game looked a little bit shaky here and there, with Lakels actually doing a lot of work with the Morphling. but I just didn't see the way this is going to work out for Myth in terms of picks early game.
Well, that does mean that MVP is going to be one up here in this best of 3 series. Of course,